In this video, I'm going to show you how to take $10,000 and turn that into millions of dollars of wealth in just a matter of a few years. So let's say you have this $10,000 and you don't quite know what to do with it. Let's go over a few options before we get into what you should do. The first option would be investing it in crypto. And while that's not a bad investment, that's not a way to create millions. I actually have a decent amount of money in crypto. I just don't talk about it very much because I don't feel like it's something that I should be giving advice on. Real estate I should be, crypto I shouldn't be, so I don't talk about it a ton. And it's a great investment. It's pretty volatile, but you can make a lot of money. So that $10,000 in crypto could turn into $100,000 or even $150,000 over the next 5 years. And while that's awesome, it's not wealth. All right, let's say you picked a few really good stocks to invest in and put that $10,000 in, and in 3 to 5 years that doubled or maybe even tripled, which would kind of almost be unheard of, but it definitely can happen. So if you invest in stocks, that'll turn into 20, 30,000. Again, not wealth, and that's not millions. Before I explain how $10,000 can turn into millions of dollars, because I've done it, this is a real life example, make sure you hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. The number one thing I want you to understand is we're going to use that $10,000 and we're going to leverage it. Leverage it is taking something that's smaller and helping create something that's much bigger. Obviously, that's not the exact definition. You can look that up on Investopia or wherever else you want to look up definitions. But in general, leverage is using something small and creating something large with it. And that's what we're obviously going to do with this $10,000. We're going to take $10,000 and turn that into millions of dollars. As I mentioned, this is something that I have done and am continuing to do. This is not something I watched on another YouTube video or not something I read about. This is real life, and this is what I'm doing, and a ton of people I know are doing it. Shoot, a lot of my students are doing it and are learning to do it, but there's tons of people around the country that are doing exactly what I'm going to talk about. And it is leveraging through the BRRRR method: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and scale. I'm not going to go into that method right now. I talk about it all over this channel. Check out this video above where I explain what the BRRRR method in great detail. So that video I just pointed to can really help you, but let me quickly talk about the bigger picture, what I'm talking about. I'm talking about buying rental properties using other people's money with that BRRRR method. You take a distressed property and you buy it using somebody else's money, OPM, and then you use that same OPM to fix it up. So you took a distressed property and you fix it up using somebody else's money. Then you get it rented, and then you take it to the bank and refinance, and they will write you a check for up to 80% of what the property is worth. That check, if you ran your numbers right, is going to be enough to pay back that initial lender. And now the only person you owe money to is the bank, but your rent covers that. So that's what we're talking about. That is the way to create wealth. That is the only way to create wealth, in my opinion. I'm teaching you in this video and on this channel how to create wealth like the big dogs do, like Apple, like Google, like Amazon, like Facebook, like Tesla, like Uber. All these huge companies, some are in the service industry, some are actually in the product industry. Regardless, all these companies and these billionaires, soon to be trillionaires that run these companies, all did what I'm talking about, and it's leveraging debt, taking money to expand. And they leverage debt to start companies that either have services or products that produce cash. And then that company grows in value the more cash it produces. I'm not going to try and talk you through the process of creating a ginormous tech company because I have no idea how to even do that. But what I do know is how you can take that big concept and utilize that in real estate with the BRRRR method, step by step, with properties. Get in one, do a second, do 4 more, do 10 more. I know how to create wealth through the BRRRR method, and having this $10,000 that I'm kind of using as a catch-all for this video, showing you that you don't need a ton of money to create millions, is a great way to do it. But just know overall, the main example of using debt or leveraging some of your money and a ton of other people's money to create massive wealth is not a new concept. It's been around for centuries, and it's how all big corporations start. I'm just simplifying it to real estate because that's something that you and I can do, and we can create more wealth than you can imagine doing it that way. All right, let's talk about the 4 ways that $10,000 can help you do what I just said faster and more efficiently. So there's 4 ways that we will potentially use this $10,000, but not all of them are actually even using the money. Let's get it. Number one, you're more likely to get a loan from somebody else if you have $10,000 liquid in your bank or have $10,000 accessible. Think about it. A lender that's lending you money on an investment property, a hard money lender or a private money lender, or even a bank, they're more likely to lend you money if you have $10,000. You know, if you have $100 in your bank account or $10,000 in your bank account, all else the same, because they want as least risk as possible. They don't want to have to take back the property, and they don't want to have to mess with anything. So they feel more secure in giving you the money. Even 100% of purchase and rehab, which private lenders and some hard money lenders do, they're more likely to give you the entire amount of money to purchase and fix up that property if you have $10,000 in reserves. So that's the first reason. The second reason, and kind of playing off that first reason, if it hits the shan, you definitely have that money that you can kind of tap into. If your rehab goes over budget a little bit and you don't want to go to your private lender or hard money lender to borrow more money from them, you can utilize some or all of that $10,000 to kind of make the deal whole and finish the deal. The third one is it may be actually useful in the transaction. Some hard money lenders will require, you know, some 5-10% down, so you can utilize that money as a down payment. Now you will get it back once you refinance with the BRRRR method, but if you need it to actually get that initial loan, you can use it there. Or some hard money lenders or even private money lenders will lend you 100% of purchase and rehab, but they will require monthly interest only payments. So you can, for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months during your rehab, you can take money from that $10,000 and pay them interest only payments, because again, you'll get it back when you sell the property, or preferably refinance it and keep it as a rental. Number 4 is it might help you at the end of a BRRRR deal if you have to come out of pocket on the appraisal. Ideally, a bank will write you a check, you know, take out a loan and write you a check for up to 80% of the appraised value of a property. But if your budget went over a little bit or it didn't quite appraise out at what you thought it was going to appraise out, you might have to come out of pocket $1, $2, $3, $5, maybe $10,000. It's usually 5 or less at the end of a deal. Now, again, you can get that back on future deals, but it might be out of pocket short term. So having this $10,000, if everything else went well and it doesn't quite appraise out, it'll help you have some security and something to fall back on if it doesn't appraise out. Then after you've done one BRRRR deal, which that $10,000, as I just showed, help you do, you can scale and repeat it as many times as you want. I have students that have done 6 deals in their first few months without using any of their own money, because they understood the process and they watch these videos, and obviously they're part of the mentorship, but then they also have a little bit of money in reserves just in case they need it. Some of them use it in one or a few of the methods that I just talked about, those 4 ways, and some of them never use it. It's just a nice thing to have, and it will allow you to grow more and do more. Because, you know, if you've had that $10,000 and you didn't use it or just use a little bit of it, and you've done 3 or 4 deals, man, the floodgates really open up with other private lenders, other hard money lenders, and banks even. So it's just a kind of way to help overcome some hurdles that people have if they don't have any money. It just allows you to create more and more wealth, because, you know, doing that one property will maybe create a good chunk of equity and wealth and cash flow, but then you can just do it over and over and over again, and you really don't have to use that $10,000, or if you do use it, you'll get it back in the short term. Or you can invest a portion of that in my mentorship. It's a one-time investment, lifetime access. There's weekly mentorship calls, there's resources, there's videos, there's Facebook groups, there's everything you'll need to grow faster and more efficiently. So maybe just take a portion of that $10,000 and invest it in the mentorship. That's an option as well. So if you saw any value out of this video, please hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, and make sure to subscribe if you have not. If you're still watching it to this point, hopefully you've seen some value. So subscribe if you haven't. If you are subscribed, make sure to hit that notification bell so you get notified when new videos come out. See you on the next one.